Good morning. Today's Monday, June the 8th, 9th. It's the 9th of June. I'm doing a master study by Claude Monet that was an earlier piece. Sorry, I'm live, so when I'm recording this, so I'm just making sure everything's kosher. Monet is known more for his impressionist pieces, like the water lilies, the haystacks, and those type of things. His work is the reason that the term or the word impressionism came about, because his work looked like an impression of, I believe it was a landscape. I failed to fold these ahead of time, so I'm just doing it while we talk about Monet. If this is your first time here, I usually do like a really quick sketch with burnt umber, and I think I'm going to do that today. Oh, let me get the... You can't really see the description there. I won't leave that on the whole time either. That'll be... Let's do that. There, you can see it. What was I saying? This will be available for replay. And if I go very long, I will cut it up into parts and post it, because I've been known to go 5-6 hours. But this is seems like a fairly simple one. Famous last words. To me, whenever I say that, that's when it takes me the longest, so I just jinxed myself. Good morning, Pierre. How are you? Welcome to chat. Welcome to those that are lurking. I'm putting my gloves on because I know me. There we go. This portrait was painted in 1867, and it shows a very different side of Monet. Instead of the soft, shimmering light of gardens or water lilies, we see a strong, realistic study of a man, possibly a friend or even his own brother. This was before Monet had fully embraced Impressionism, so you can still see the influence of traditional techniques and realism here. What's striking is the bold use of shadow and light. All this all that black that you see, and then the very white of like the forehead. The dark background helps focus all of our attention on the man's face and expression. And I assume they're talking about the background, the dark area of his body there. There's an intensity and presence here, and you can already see Monet's skill in how he handles texture and depth with just brushwork. Even though Monet later became known for loose, light-filled brushstrokes, the early portrait reminds us that he had a solid academic foundation too, and chose to break away from it. If you've seen the later Monets, you can really see the difference between this one and sorry, it's hard for me to work and talk at the same time. I know that's ironic for somebody going live. As much as I do. He was known for painting the same thing multiple times, like the haystacks and the water lilies. He had a garden that he often painted. Do I have that in here? Yeah, nope, I don't. I took it in there. I had a image in a book out of the water lilies. And I moved that paper towel, didn't I? I'll put that back there so you can see what that says. I got it a little crooked, don't I? Let me straighten that up. There we go. There we go. I just made this last night. I need to put a background on the text so I don't have to have something underneath my... I thought it would help a little. It looks about like he used, or very much like he used a Zorn type palette with just black, a yellow ochre, and a cad red. I know that's all wrong. I may turn on the music and work because I get very distracted, and I really like this piece, so I'd like to have a nice master study of it. I will say, before I do turn on the music, I have really been pushing for 4,000 hours and encouraging people to watch and focusing on numbers a great deal. I'm going to go ahead and just give me a foundation on the whole thing. Tone it. I watched a replay of a video I had seen before of Brandon Ferris, and I don't know what that is. What is that? Oh well, it'll be in the hair. Anyway, I watched a replay of a video that I watched of Brandon Ferris where he is as himself. He's not doing any skits. He's not doing any anything funny. It's just an interview with him and how he grew his channel, what his philosophies are. I don't even remember who did it. I'll have to look. But I think it's titled The Real Brandon Ferris. So if you want to look at it, if you're not familiar with Brandon Ferris, he cracks me up. I've mentioned him before. Can't see that tone hardly at all on there, can you? Well, I did it again. There we go. But he talks about the universe, the power of the universe. He's not a spiritual guru of any type. And if this sounds too woo-woo for you, take what you want, leave what you don't, I believe is the saying. But he got to a point to where he noticed he was watching numbers and checking analytics all the time. And that was his purpose behind his videos, was what was going to give him the numbers and the and that's what I've been doing. And he said he realized that he wasn't looking at what he was giving, just without expectation. And it sounded remarkably like me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop pushing for people to watch, give me my hours, let's celebrate the 4K. I'm going to focus on what my viewer needs and what works best for me, because that's sustainable. Pushing for numbers is not sustainable, and it's not enjoyable. I mean, if you're just doing what you think is going to get you the numbers, you're not giving without expectation. So I'm going to start just recording my numbers in the morning and not worrying about checking it the next day, or during the day, sorry. I check it multiple times. I probably check it once an hour at the least, which, yeah. So I'm going to quit doing that. I'm going to record it in the morning just for posterity, and then I'm going to let it go. And the reason being is I want to be giving. I want to be if I need to move that, that's fine. This is the more important part. So there may be some changes in videos. I am doing master studies until end of May on Mondays. Ooh, that looks terrible, doesn't it? Or till the end of June. Sorry, I think I said May. Because I've already got them scheduled, and I enjoy doing it, and that's going to fill this notebook. But if there's something that you want to see, not necessarily that's going to help my numbers, or that I know a lot of you really like seeing the oil pastel, and there's not a lot of people that really do it. Well, again, I'm worrying about numbers. But if that is what my followers, if that's what you want, I will set aside a day. I was doing it on Wednesday, and then I got off on doing something else. I want to focus more on our personal needs and not the numbers. If that makes sense. I want to give without expectation. And again, if that's too woo-woo for you, it is what it is, I guess. I didn't intend on doing this head this large. I'm getting my colors for my values off. I think it's time I stop talking. And turn on the music. Turn it up. That looks terrible on screen. It will get better, I promise. He used a larger brush. Let me get the brush that I need. Okay, this is mine. I love this brush. I know I always say that. It's like a 1/2 inch. Transin. Yes, I still need to do the video on Transin brand. I did an initial one, but I've used them since then. And can give a much better and thoughtful review. If I did it with the simple brush strokes that he has, I would be done fairly quickly. But I don't know. That's going to happen. Okay, see it. Eye is here. It's not good that I did the eye last. Should have done it first, or at least sooner than now. When I saw this, I thought it was a self-portrait, but apparently not. This needs smaller. I really like Monet with his early, more academic work like this, and his later. He did have cataracts, and he had to adjust how he worked. later in life. As someone who has had cataracts, I can relate. I had cataracts removed 8-10 years ago. I was fairly young to have cataracts, but it runs in my family. And I think being out in the sun, doing plein air things a lot, and just being out in the sun in general without eye protection did not help. I have light colored eyes, and I'm told that that makes it more likely also. But I have a brother he had to have one removed when he was 30, 32, something like that. So yeah, it kind of runs in my family. I joke about my big old Irish head. Maybe I should start saying about my light old Irish eyes. I'm going to take the reference overlay off. I saw something about his cataracts and I took notes. By the way, this was done when he was just 27. This portrait. Well, I don't have it on there. I know I had it. Let's get your ear in there, dude. I know like 2 hours, for instance, I know 2-hour videos do much better than mine, or even an hour do much better than these extremely long streams that I do. But I'm after work. I'm after my chat GPT, where I could pull up some history really fast. Oh, there it comes. Let me see if there's anything new in it. In '59, he moved to Paris and enrolled in Académie Suisse. I don't speak French. But disliked the strict studio method, preferring street and landscape scenes. He faced financial hardship and limited family support, yet he sold characters, painted portraits, and fell in with fellow pioneers like Renoir, Bazille, and Sisley. His first acceptance into the salon was in the mid-1860s and was also the year his let's see, he had a son born in 86. In 87, he fled the Franco-Prussian War to England, where he saw Turner's work, and it deeply influenced him. And when he went back to France, he painted Impression Sunrise, 1872, which led to the name to the Impressionist movement after they showed the first independent Impressionist exhibit in 1874. And critics dismissed it as being unfinished. But the group embraced the term as a badge of the revolutionary approach. He settled in Giverny and I'm sorry if I mispronounce that, in 1883, and that's where he did the water lily pond and the gardens. Let's see. He pioneered the use of serial painting. Like I said, he did multiple versions of the same subject. Oh, and also the haystacks in the cathedral. I forgot about those. He would paint the same subject different times of the day and like rotate his canvas. So he had like morning light for one, paint on it for a while, afternoon light for another, and just switch them out. His bold emphasis on light, color, and atmosphere over detail helped usher in modern art movements, and his Water Lily series remain his most celebrated works. He also had rheumatoid arthritis. Okay, I think that's probably sufficient for now. Okay. It seems like I read that he wound up having what they considered cataract surgery then in the early 1900s. Is that right? For his years alive. I don't want to say he had cataract surgery when he was long gone. Yeah, because he died in 1926. Yay! You missed some history, though. That is very, very off. Very, very off. Oh, I see what I'm doing wrong. This needs in here, like that, and then there's a clump there. And that goes in. I think one of the reasons I appreciate him is the fact that he kept working even though his vision became very limited. And if you've ever had like your eyes dilated and know how hard it is sometimes to function after that, Hi, Cammie. Actually, it's a highlight, but yeah, I know what you mean. Um, Monet did specific brushwork right there for the highlight of the, in the hair. And so I wanted to save it until I put black on here like he did, and then create that brushwork. Well, I guess it's going to be paint over. There, how's that? I'm still deciding what I'm going to be doing on Mondays. If I'm still going to be doing master studies after June, or if I'm going to switch it up. I keep saying I'm going to take time and just plan, and then I don't wind up doing it. I get overwhelmed. I took yesterday off, quote unquote, and did not a whole lot. I watched some videos. What all did I do? Doom scrolled on TikTok. Took some notes on some videos. Love the shape of this model's nose. Oh yeah, I didn't do a whole lot yesterday. I took it as a down day. We didn't even cook or anything. We just scrounged. I love that book. I do. I haven't looked at it for a few weeks and I need to. I'm glad you're enjoying it. Yeah, I like it. I like that book. And I found out about it from another YouTube person. I haven't seen it talked about a lot other than that one YouTuber, and I cannot remember who it was. I'll have to look it up so I can give her credit. Because it wasn't just a me find, it was a... Good job, Cammy. That's a major task. I tend to dress in layers, so my summer clothes are my winter clothes for the most part, except for like jackets, you know, things like that, coats. If you missed the first of it, Pierre, um, I want to start making more videos with the mindset of giving without expectation of receiving. So if there's something that you all want to see that is let me know. Let me know your input. I know I did a survey here not too long ago about mediums, and oil pastel was definitely #1. So I need to do more tutorial type things on that. You'd watch the best of the art books I own. The problem is I don't have as many as I would like. I went through, I don't want to say Marie Kondo, but I went through a decluttering, kind of a Swedish death cleanse type period. And I gave away a lot of books to people that I knew would use them, that would appreciate them, that were sitting on my shelf. And now, of course, I wish I had a number of them. But some of them I don't even remember what they were. And I know at least one of them wound up at the art gallery, if not more. And they wound up in other artist hands and at the library, you know, things like that. So they went to good homes, but I need to order some. Maybe I just need to do a book haul. Yeah, let's do a book haul. That'll give me an excuse to buy some books. Ones I need, not just random. I like that idea. Stick to a budget of, like, say $100, $150, and just go through and buy a few. I really like that idea. Thank you for spurring that. That would be fun too. I'll have to look around and see, like, newer ones that are out. I'm reading the comments if you're watching the replay. I'm interested in your choice of book. Cool. Yeah, I don't know who. I have to do some research. That will be fun research for me. And that would definitely be a yeah. That would be cool. And I haven't really bought a lot of books since I bought that palette book. I think that's the last one I bought. No, I take that back. I bought a couple that I wasn't really happy with. But I think I included them in. See, I'm getting sidetracked. So like walking and chewing gum. It's like he's got horns. Writing craft and stick figure, tiny. Ed Emberley's drawing book, Make a World. I'm looking for a pen or pencil. You'd think I'd keep paper here by the desk, by my work area. Here's some. Whoops. I still need to go through I have grandchildren that are interested in art, so this may be something, if it's aimed more at kids, that's not a bad thing. I could pass it on to them. Okay, let's see here. Don't want to get too carried away with that. With that red, he uses it sparingly. You know how when you use filters on photos, you know, the cookie cutter filters, and it has mosaic. That's what this reminds me of, this painting. It's like he used a large brush on the whole thing. Carlson's on landscape painting. I think I've heard other people talk about Carlson's landscape, and isn't it out of print? Because I think it has a lot of composition on it, in it. Still Life by Kathy Folsom. Oops, did that too large, but I'll just go back in. Looks like he has a double chin. I need to take care of that. He doesn't in real life. Or on the actual. It seems like maybe it was Sandy Hester that suggested it, and because she was doing a lot of self-study on composition at one time. I think she even had the black and white version. Because she was mainly focused on, like I said, the composition exercises. If it's the same one, or maybe he has one that is just on composition. That went up here, not that far up. Okay, I'm going to switch. Get that eye situated. Took all my brushes off my desk because I was doing the oil pastels. We're in the process of trying to set up a second separate area. I guess it would actually be a third. So I don't have to move materials from place to place. And I can still record. I've got the tech to hold the recording device, but I don't have a good location. I may have to do some major my holdup is I have this drawing table that is from when I was 16, and I don't want to get rid of it. I even have like pictures of my grandkids using it when they came over, and I really don't want to get rid of it. But it's not steady enough. It wobbles if I try and record, so it's any movement shows up. That's too big. That's my problem. Hey, Angela. I know what you meant, but yeah, thank you. And by the way, if I know I've mentioned it before, but I'm going to mention it again. If you're into writing, I strongly suggest you go check out Heart Breathings. It is an amazing group of people. I did a little bit of fiction writing. There for a while, and I just could not get I just couldn't get my hooks in it, marketing wise, or just what I was doing. It was more like therapy in hindsight for me, and it still is. but I'm still involved with the group. Thank you, Angela. Have a great day. I haven't watched her latest video or two. I need to go watch. She I think this one and then the one two back I've missed. I don't know, this is gonna sound weird, but I fell asleep listening to her one about storing your art, and I don't know if I got through it or not before I fell asleep. And then the one I think before that I didn't watch. I watched the one where her and her husband talk about moving. I tend to be a big Christine Snaps fan too. She's not art related, but she's a goofball. She's from the Chicago area, and I really like her. For a lot of reasons, but we've talked a few times. On through email and on the lives, but yeah, but she's just, yeah. And she's a dog person. And she is into creative things. She appreciates the arts. See, this is not gonna... Tried to get an appointment today for Mr. Poncho, but they couldn't fit us in. We didn't call ahead like we should have. So nothing on the vet clinic, it's totally on us. This needs, and I'm gonna get a even finer brush so I can get that eye the way I want it for one. It's amazing what they can do with cataracts these days. Just, I wonder what he would have, if he would have gone down the same path, if he had had the opportunities to have his eyes taken care of. And when I say I had cataracts, mine were bad. Mine were, I don't know how I was still driving. I shouldn't have been, actually. I was legally blind, put it that way. What's weird is I was using a computer at work. I think I just instinctually knew by then what to push on the computer, because it happens so slowly. Just barely a pinkish. I heard the trash truck and started to panic a little bit. I forgot it's Monday. It's not our trash day. They go on a side street. I know, you don't care. That's irrelevant. It is. That looks much closer to what I want. It's really interesting to see how he broke this down just into very basic shapes. They said he was trained academically also, even though his later work was more loose. That mark was more for me than, because I have something off here. If you haven't, we had a chance to see them, to see the lily, paintings, what is that, lily garden, the Giverny. They had them at the Nelson in Kansas City. If you get a chance to see them, I think they're at Chicago Art Institute. Now, I don't quote me, but they are breathtaking. I think we had like part of the panels. I don't know that we had all of them, or I could be remembering wrong. But it was on exhibit for a short time. That line right there is, again, that's more for me than he has a lot of yellow ochre on this cheek for shading. I don't see a lot of pinkish in it. It's pretty much just yellow ochre. There's some value change in it, but not. I'm looking. I think I've got the gist of it down. I think this comes up a little bit more. And that goes more like that. I'm going to touch up some of these areas that have the color and not just the flat black in here, like on the ear. That was a great brush stroke too, and I had to take it out. This is much more a study in value. To me. Then color. Again, I'm not using black yet because I want to make sure that I've got these dark areas down. because this burnt umber is much easier to cover up than black. For me, anyway. This has a nice roundness. See, this comes up. I think that needs to go down a little. I believe I have 3 pages left in this sketchbook. Of Master Studies. What time is it? Oh, it's only 11:10. We're doing good. We're doing very well. What is that? Get off there. Yeah, I'm talking to my paintbrush. This in here needs to be lighter and more with yellow ochre. What did, oh, I watched the entire series of a, well, let's just say a Hulu show about dying. I'll just, yeah. Very good. It was very, very good. Made me cry. It was a series. It's about a young woman and her breast cancer returns. It's not rated PG, or I would. It's rated MA, so it's not child friendly. I know this needs to be a stark white, but I can go over it with my mineral oil, or not my mineral oil, my walnut oil mixed in my paint and get a solid. I got the ear too high. You can fix that. It's more like down here. That looks more like a, you know whose mustache than. And by the way, I was laughing with you about a bald spot comment, because yeah, it did look like a. Let me see, I'm going to put up the overlay so I can get comparison. And I'll give it for you too. It's a lot redder in the face. Let me get the full reference photo and not worry about the info on there. Well, I would if I... Where are you? Come here, baby. Where are you? I know you're in there. You're in this folder. You're supposed to be in this folder. He's not in that folder. Oh well. I will just... keep working. not look right. If I really focus, I could probably get this done fairly quickly. Because this is not a very complicated portrait. I like that it's very different than the ones that he's typically known for. Because it shows growth. I'm going to make a note about that. Book. What I have best. New ones. I wanted. Even wrote my budget down so I wouldn't overgo. Because Lord knows I need a budget. This is going to be much more, it's going to have much more punch when I get the black on here. Oh, much more oomph. But I'm glad I waited to do the black, because I'm seeing lots of little details that I didn't initially see, and I would have misplaced and gotten the proportions incorrect. We don't want that. I didn't put my paints in the fridge like I should have the last time I painted. It's getting to be a bad habit. I get in a hurry usually, and I tell myself cleaning up my palettes enough. I really like the way he did the ear here. The ear here. Do I have that big enough? I don't think I do. This is actually, well, no, I guess it is. I'm doing some comparison with the original. I'm adding a little mineral, or why do I keep calling it mineral oil? Walnut oil. To my burnt umber, just to get a clear. I don't think I still have this correct. Yeah, I know, it's not a master copy, it's a master study. I've already learned a lot just from looking at it. It looks very not planned, but his eye, in not his physical eye, but the way he looks at it is very systematic. And that each area, this brush is way too small. Let me get this one area. I want to get more of a reddish tone overall on his face. I say as I work on other things. That goes up just a slight. Okay. I'm going to try and get some of this background in the way that he has it. He's used some black. For like a bluish tone in here. And I'm destroying this white up here intentionally. It's been out. It needs used. Maybe that will make it look more reddish too, by putting that gray tone up there. Bluish. then this burnt umber. Like I said, he's using a very limited palette on this. That made a big difference, didn't it? You can see the yellow though more too. I still need to redden it up. And that could be monitor, reproduction. But I'm gonna go with it anyway. It looks like he did the whole thing with a very chunky brush. And a very limited palette. I may take a break on the master study just to do work on the big easel. Some of that is getting neglected. And that would give me motivation to get my act together over there. That made a big difference. I'm not going to try and get that area up here just as he has it. He has it very not dry brush, but definitely not it's not mixed real well in there. I think that's looking pretty darn good if I do say so myself. It's not perfect. It doesn't go like that. If I were in a time crunch, I would say go ahead and start adding the black. What time is it? Okay. Do I hear woo? I'm comparing images. Mainly looking at the big shapes. This has a choppiness right there. This needs to be darker. Okay. I think my rag has had it. Or about to. Oops, I got some stuff on there from doing that. What I want to do is add a little rosiness to it because it looks a little off. Not a lot. I still want that to lean toward a yellowish, a yellow ochre, and not a red. That was Poncho back there saying, hey. Okay. Oh, that's pretty damn close. I think I've got the chin overall too large. Just doing this to mark it for myself. There we go. That's better. That's better. Just put a little. Like I said, it looks like he used a chunky brush and not a little brush like this. But I'm able to kind of mark in where things were supposed to be. With this smaller one. Get off there. I still need to make it a little rosier too. Not a great deal, just a smidge of mineral or walnut oil. Putting in a little bit of the really light areas. With the fresh white. Looks like there's some gray in here. I'm going to put just a little bit there. And it looks like that shadow there is gray. Trying to get this, there's a little light spot right on his ear right here without making it too light. Add just a little bit of a reddish tone to his eyes because it's very vascular at that point. Same thing with his nose. And his ear, but I think I've pretty much done his ear redness. This needs to come down there. I could probably stop right now if I wanted this to be a study and not anything beyond that, because I've already determined his palette and his brush style. It would not be this little bitty brush, by the way. It would be more like my 1/2 inch. Come on, get some white on there. And lighten that up a little. If you're more into oil pastels, there are quite a few videos on here aimed at that. I'm going to go ahead and start adding some black to it. Whoops, I forgot to plug in my phone. Had my iPad charged up. That's good. Let's see. Let's use this one. A little bit of mineral oil, walnut oil. What is it with me and mineral oil? I know a lot of people say to not use black, but there are times, as he shows here, where it's very effective. Yeah, there's a glare on there. I'm gonna turn that light off. That helps. Then you can start really seeing his graphic, very blocky. If you can't see it on the face, you can definitely see it with the black added. I've wanted to do this particular study for a while now. So this is awesome to me that I get to do this. If you're new, if you haven't been in here until now, we were talking earlier about doing a, wow, that's really stark difference. We were talking about doing a book, like haul or favorite books of what's on my shelf. So I'm gonna do some book purchase because you asked for it, right? So I have to go to Amazon or we're at Thrift Books or wherever, and I have to order some because it's required. Right? So if you have something that you really love, let me know so I can look at it and see if it's something that I would benefit from in my own library. I will say I used to work in a library. I worked in one for about 17 years, and it was not often that I recommended books. Because I just didn't, our patronage was not the type that I think would want the same type of books I wanted. And I don't mean that in a snobbish way. It's just my needs at the time were very, get off there, what is that? It's a blob. Very specific to what medium I was using. At the time, I tended to become obsessed with a particular medium. And then 3 months later, it would be something else. And when you have a small rural library, we had a large circulation, but we also had a budget. I didn't want to forfeit possibly money toward books that were very, they just wouldn't have, you know what I'm saying. The money could be used for more appropriate books for the patrons. I have to say, I really like that. I really, really like this. Of course, I just cursed myself, didn't I? I don't think it's going to take a whole lot longer. On this. I did the same thing when I started painting, switched mediums a lot, but ended up always coming back to my oil paint or finishing up an acrylic painting with oils. I went through a altered book phase, a knitting phase. Now the knitting, there were a lot of books that we had a very large percentage of our patrons that knit. I was going through doing the master knitting program that used to be around for the Knitting Association, and so I was always getting books from Interlibrary Loan, and people would see them and be like, "Oh, I gotta see that book." But yeah, I went through a lot of. Oh, there goes the fire whistle. If you can hear it. I also did a very awkward, I feel it was awkward anyway, beginning oil pastel video the other day. I did it so that if you want to get started in them, boy, that's loud. You had somewhere to look. I probably could redo it. The originals. The highlight's not there that bright. I will lose it. Once again, if you're new here, that whistle that you hear is just our local fire alarm. They do it a test every Monday at noon. it's nothing to be concerned about. Now, if it was tornado weather, since I am in Kansas, get a close-up of his eye. Let me make sure I've got it. I wanted to do just a regular old portrait. So I was like, I sent a text to my daughter to send me pictures of new pictures of grandkids. She'd already sent them all to me. I'm comparing the original to the study. There really is a lot more reddish tone. I'm just gonna, if this were if this were already dry, I would do a glaze. But since it's not, I'm just going to do tiny little strokes with my tiny little brush. This probably looks more like the original than many I've done. Even though I keep saying it's not a copy. Boop. Come on. Boop. It's a little boop right there. I'm just trying to get this of a slightly darker value so it's not, it doesn't jump into the black. That needs to be a little lighter. A smidge. But you can definitely tell he worked with a really large brush and did I just love it. I don't know if you're familiar with Henry Miller. Oh, I'm sorry, Robert Henry. But he did very loose with a chunky brush. I'm mixing some white with the walnut oil. Yes, I started to say mineral oil just to get this stark white in here. And oddly enough, it kind of looks like he had the same issue. This in here. Chunk down. Just trying to soften some of these edges. Where it's necessary. Otherwise his hair will look like a helmet. It may still. There's a little swoosh. And then there is more of a burnt sienna. I wonder if that's what he used for the underpainting. That would make a lot of sense for the I have a little hair. I always wind up with a little hair on there. Come on, you don't need a hairy ear. There we go. Did I get you? No? Yeah, I'm talking to a hair. There we go. Oops. Yeah, looks like there's some burnt sienna in here. That may have been what he used on his lips too. And on his eye lid. If there's anything that you want to see on this channel, just let me know and I'll see what I can do. I know that's kind of, I always hate asking that because then it puts it off on you, and I should know. That's part of my job, is to know. I feel anyway. But we have a lot of regulars in here that I feel comfortable. Also, we are not gatekeepers. If you know of another channel that does something that you really like I watch Frugal Crafter often because I love it when she puts up discounts and sales at different places. Plus, she also does very thorough product reviews, which is not something I normally do. But if she ever has a coupon code that our post that benefits, we share it. We share her link, not mine. What if there's just one that you like to listen to while you work? It's a little lighter in there. I could probably stop by now, but what time is it? Let me go till 12:30. It's 12:15 here. And then I'll pull that tape off. That's my favorite part. Oh, have you seen the TikTok where the ball players, kid ball players, are on the field and somebody hollers, "Andy's coming," and the whole team falls down? Sorry, I like watching funny TikToks. Why am I apologizing for watching funny TikToks? That was more of a rhetorical question there. There also is a TikToker. Oh man, it's something Becca. She does pigment. I really need to write down her info. She does vintage pigments. She'll order things offline, like old art kits, artist supplies, and pigments that are no longer sold. And she takes safety precautions, but I bring her up an awful lot, don't I? I need to just put her in my description. I'm not affiliated with her in any way. I really like her info. One of my granddaughters turned me on to her. Let's see. That's a little too stark, isn't it? I think I'm worrying about too much detail now at this point. So I'm glad I put a time limit on it. This is much more it's not so frazzled. So I guess this whole video will be about 2.5 hours long. That's not too bad. And I'll really try and spend some time today planning. I say that every time. It's right here. It's just a smidge darker than what I've got. I haven't spent much time on his mustache today. So I've got about 5 minutes left to paint, and then I'm going to take the tape off. I held off on putting the black on till toward the end, so I had things already kind of laid out. This just doesn't feel right. This here is hair in there. Should that go back further? Sorry, I'm thinking aloud. And I am going to stick true to the 12:30 deadline. I'm not going to pick away at it. Which we know I always tend to do. Becky Traeger Art on YouTube, I believe is the person. I think so. Yeah, I think you're right. I do think you're right. I know you're right, in fact. Traeger? She's not very old. She's, I'd say in her 20s. But she does these really cool videos on vintage and she's just, yeah. I want to be her when I grow up. That would have made an awesome master's thesis, I think. Or even like a senior thesis. Something formal. But I just think it would be, yeah. Thank you, Pierre. I appreciate it. I wrote it down so I need to make a list of my favorite YouTubers. The problem is a lot of mine are comedy people. I watch a lot more of things for comic relief. I don't watch a lot of art YouTubers. I need to do that. Just made myself a note. Got about 2 minutes. That is something I need to do, is like a timed portrait. Like a 30-minute or an hour, whatever. I know there's a lot of amazing ones out there that, like Sandy Hester. She doesn't do things in the style that I generally work in, but she's just so good at what she does. I'll lighten that little lip right there. Hope I didn't put black in it, but I think I did. I'll just put a little. Oops. I'm not looking at the clock. I'm not looking at the clock. Okay. I know it's, yep, it's 1 minute after. Okay. Brushes down. There's also a wonderful show on Prime called Portrait Artist of the Week, and there's a series called Landscape of the Artist of the Week. That I need to oops. Here. This is why I wear gloves, because that was me wearing gloves. Oh, the magic. Singer. I need to get a better book on John Singer Sargent. The one I have is isn't bad, but it's got a lot of just black and white images. There are some color, but not a lot. See, now I have to, you know what that is? It's I got a hair on my tape. I don't consider that cheating by taking care of that, because that was a, I'm really not that hairy. I have long hair, but I have it up when I paint. At least I do today. Nice clean edge, no paper pulled up. I'm looking at it and I see I'm going to cheat. We all knew I would when it comes to this. Poncho. Oh, I can't do it. I told you guys I wouldn't do it. I need to stick, I'm putting this back to as close as I can because I told you guys I wasn't going to. I'm looking for my pencil. Here we go. We did pretty good on not having any like seep through underneath the acceptor right there. There's a little bit. There's a little bit. Monet Study. Detail. It doesn't have all of it. His body comes down a little further and his arms out. Let's see. Portrait of a Man. (1867). I don't usually put that, but I think that's relevant. Oil. Gessoed paper. Live YouTube demo. If I were to do it different, if I were to keep working on it, I would make it a little redder. I would probably add a little bit more of the burnt sienna here and there. And this right here is don't tell anybody. Just there we go. What else would I do? I probably would have drawn it in. I would have, so I could have gotten the chunkier aspects of his brush strokes sooner. And I could have done that if I'd drawn it in and not tried to do it more like alla prima. But there, that didn't count. We'll touch up right there. Okay, I think that's it for today. The replay of this will be available. I'm gonna do something. Don't yell at me. This is not wide enough. and he has very chunky brush strokes. Okay, I could keep picking at this for all day. I'm looking at it. See what else I would do. This line right here is a little different. It's back. It's back a little more. Yeah, and the red tones. The red tones is the main thing to me. They're not, it depends on the reproduction you have, because the one I'm looking at here is not as red as the one that I have on my screen over here. So, okay, I am going to, that's not an excuse, that's just, you know how monitors are. Okay, I'm going to let you go. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. I do this every Monday at 10 a.m. There is a plethora of these on the channel. There are also oil pastel demos, and I did one the other day for a beginner. I still feel like I did it very awkwardly, but the information is still there and valid. There's also an older video that is comparing oil pastels to each other by brand that is helpful if you're wondering which brand to buy for what, because there's a lot of brands out there anymore. In fact, I think a couple more have come out since I did the video, and I always encourage you, if there's something that you like to see, you want to see, you enjoy seeing on somebody, you know, you've seen it out there and thought, wow, that's really cool. I don't want to do it exactly like theirs, but it might spark an idea. So I will catch you all later. Have a wonderful, wonderful Monday. Stay safe and take care of each other.